What's going on, shoe fanatics? I got another unboxing for you here today. It's a good shoe. It's actually a really good shoe, but it's some things to talk about with this one. So first I'm going to show you guys the shoe. We're going to talk about the shoe, and then we're going to talk about the shoe. Let's go ahead and get right into it. As standard with most women's releases, you have the inverse of the Nike Air box. It's the Jordan 1 box, but the colors are inverse, as I mentioned. Red overall with the black Nike check in the whole shebang. Just inverse of the regular Nike Air Jordan 1 box. Size tag reads Women's Air Jordan 1 Retro High OG, Atmosphere White Muslin Sail. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on, but let's get into the shoe. As usual, ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to present to you the Women's Air Jordan 1 Washed Pink. So there you have it. The latest Air Jordan 1 to be released comes to my channel, and here it is, the Air Jordan 1 Washed Pink. Starting out to the bottom, you have the radial traction pad, same as any other Air Jordan 1, nothing different about that, in that Atmosphere colorway. Flip up to the midsole, you have that sail colored midsole, which again does give it that vintage vibe, but in this particular shoe, it does actually look like it blends with the overall motif of the shoe, that washed aesthetic. So as far as the upper is concerned, with that washed pink, that Atmosphere colorway, you do have that kind of rough suede, which makes its way on the toe cap, the heel, the collar, the eye straps, as well as lace stabilizers. The whole shebang, very nice washed pink material. So a rough suede, it feels good to the touch, and also it looks good on camera and on feet, if I do say so myself. One of the best parts of the shoe, in my personal opinion, is on the lateral and medial side. The actual side tabs is a nice tumbled leather. I'm gonna try to go ahead and zoom in here so you guys can see that nice tumbleness to the shoe. I think it's a very, very, very nice touch, and again, goes overall with the motif of the shoe, that washed aesthetic. And of course, that tumble material is also on the toe box itself. Jordan 1 logo, again, par for the course with the remastered version 2 series, is embossed. Embossed sticks out. I think it's embossed. Anyway, it's a white Jordan Ball and Wings logo. The swoosh itself, again, is made up of that nice rough suede, which again accents and highlights the shoe very well, in my personal opinion. Coming up to the top of the shoe, you have that collar here, which is actually a nice smooth suede. Now, it's not a lot of motion in it, but it does feel really good to the touch. On the interior of the shoe, you do have a nice feeling mesh material, but hey, it's regular mesh, nothing to write home about. And again, it does have that sail colorway inside. And again, that sail does match the tongue, which is contrast to the nice white Nike tag with the pink, or the Atmosphere pink logo on the interior of it. Hopefully the camera will pick this up, but the actual insole is a white insole with the Atmosphere pink Nike Air on the bottom. The shoe does come with a nice white cotton lace to accent, the rest of the shoe. And of course, we do have an Atmosphere pink spare pair of laces, which is clad in this box, this Move to Zero initiative box that, Nike wants to keep down their carbon footprint and all that good stuff. So inside of here is a nice Atmosphere pink extra spare pair of laces. As I always say, if you've seen one Jordan 1, you've pretty much seen them all. This is just another one in a long line of Jordan 1 colorways that just happens to have really nice materials on it, and it's just here for the taking. I would be remiss, however, if I didn't mention that most, if not every, women's Jordan 1 had a nice Nike Air hang tag on it. And this one is made of the same material as the actual shoe itself. Feels good, and I'm not gonna be wearing my shoe with it, but it also looks good too. So as far as the makeup of the shoe is concerned, that's pretty much it. But when talking about the shoe, I want to mention a few things about it. Firstly, on its own, the shoe does stand apart. It's very nice, like I said, the colorway, the motif, everything is pretty nice. I do love the rough suede and how they're continuing to play up this motif that we've seen before. And of course, I'm talking about on a shoe like the Hyper Royal one. Now, to my knowledge, of course, this is not the first shoe to have this kind of washed aesthetic. The first one that comes to my mind I can think of is actually the Turbo Green, which I unfortunately do not have, and the prices of that shoe is pretty much out of here. But the Turbo Green was one of those first ones that had that washed look aesthetic. It's almost like if you took a full colored shoe and you put it in a washing machine, put too much hot water in there where the colors would bleed, put a little bit of bleach, too much soap, you'd have it where the colors would kind of run away. It has some kind of spacing in there where that's not full, color, and just kind of splotchy. And it's kind of how this shoe comes out. As aforementioned, that's how the Turbo Green looks. That's how this Hyper Royal looks. Now you have this washed pink colorway, which is how this one looks. If I'm not mistaken, it's also a washed black colorway coming soon, which I believe will have the same kind of pattern and will fulfill this whole kind of collection of washed colorways. Some differences between these two, however, is that this particular colorway in the Hyper Royal does have a gray swoosh on it. It has the same kind of color swoosh as what's on the collar, as opposed to the washed pink, which does have a body color, the wash pink color swoosh on it, matching the overall theme. I'm going off memory here, so forgive me, but I think that washed black colorway may actually have a body color black swoosh. Don't quote me on it. I'm gonna put the picture up if it's not up already, but I think the body color is also on swoosh as well. If I'm also not mistaken, that turbo green does have a turbo green swoosh too. Again, pictures up somewhere. Is it purple? Is it? I can't remember. Pictures up. Additionally, the soles of each shoe are different. The soles of the actual Hyper Royal are gray like the swoosh and as well as the collar, whereas the sole on the wash pink is also pink, just like the swoosh and the upper collar. Like I mentioned, this is a very good shoe. I went ahead and did a review on the Lucky Greens maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and come to find out those Lucky Greens are now a DMP kind of reimagining or remastering of the DMP from 2009. As I mentioned a couple of years ago, that shoe probably would have been well into the $300, maybe $350 range. This particular shoe, although it's a women's exclusive, would maybe be a little bit less than that, somewhere around $280, $290, maybe $300, if this was a couple of years ago. Suffice it to say, the Jordan 1 I've been using as the litmus test to see how the resale market has cooled or if it's going to go up. I was fortunate enough to hit on the Travis Scott Olive, which are going to obviously be up there, so that's not really a good example. But shoes like this, and again, like the Lucky Green, are very good examples, I think, of how shoes are going to do going forward. With all that being said, despite what you think about women's Jordan 1s, they have been giving us some fire colorways over the last 3 years or so. And this isn't even all of them. There's some Melody Asani mids, which are really nice. I believe there's a Laylee May ones that are very similar to this that are very nice. I mean, Jordan Brand's women's division has been killing it with the motif of the Jordan 1s. As you can see here, I have the wash pink, the seafoam, the silver toe, the UNC Chicago, the Lucky Green, and the women's shattered backboard Lux. Fire colorways, very versatile, and the materials. That's what's most important to me. The materials on these shoes, each and every single one of them are very nice and they feel very premium. And I mean, and they're great for the most part. So I brought out these particular shoes to illustrate a point. The hype does not and should not dictate what you ultimately end up wearing. Each one of these shoes is probably somewhere around $250 or less on the aftermarket. I mean, there's no hype around these shoes. No one particularly cares about women's exclusive shoes, and yet they're all nice, all very wearable, and all have their place, I think, in your collection as well as your wardrobe. If you're one of those ones who just avoid women's shoes altogether, more power to you. Nothing wrong with that. But if you are, all sizes, all shoes inclusive, great options in general. Another funny thing happened with this particular shoe. I mentioned in my Lucky Green video about how we know for a fact that like Jordan Brand and the folks at the Sneakers app just do not communicate. I'm sure the folks at the brand put together this shoe, they designed, created, they snap these official images, give a treatment, and they give it to the Sneakers app folks. And I don't know if the Sneakers app folks just don't care. They just put out whatever. When this shoe actually went live on the Sneakers app and official images were coming out, this shoe wasn't even called Wash Pink. It was actually called Coconut Milk and Sail, which is, fine, I guess, but they knew that there was going to be this whole motif, this whole kind of, reoccurring theme coming out with this washed colorway. And they decided to call this the Coconut Milk and Sail. I mean, I guess. That being said, I guess they heard what people were saying about the shoe being called Coconut Milk and Sail. And they kind of went back and got rid of that descriptor and they put Wash Pink back on the official colorway on the Sneakers app. Just a weird thing. Now, this shoe did sell out on the Sneakers app. It took a while for it to sell out, and this is not a resale channel, but I know you guys have some interest in resale, and I can't predict where this is going to go ultimately. I think this shoe is going to stay low 200s. I mean, I think this shoe right now is right around $200 even for the bigger sizes. I don't think there was an extended sizing to this shoe. I know a lot of retail channels didn't even get full sizes. I think Finish Line and those brick and mortar stores only got as much as a size 10 women's. So if you want this shoe, aftermarket may be your best bet unless there's some kind of mysterious restock that is bound to happen on the Sneakers app. With all that being said, I thank you guys for sticking in there with me. I have at least 2 more shoes coming to the channel, one of which I know you're gonna really love, maybe 2 of which you're really gonna love, but we'll see. You guys be the judge of that. I'm gonna go outside, give you guys some on-foot action. I'm gonna go ahead and do some lace swap options that's just not the white and the atmosphere pink. I'll give you at least 1, maybe 2 more looks. And that's that, man. I appreciate you guys sticking in there with me. Until the next one, I have been Jay Shoe Fanatic. This has been my review of the Wash Pink. And until the next one, I'm out of here, guys. Peace out. I can smell it. Oh, the original cut. There it absolutely is. I might like it better than the 2020 version.